why you can use it after you've learned once. After you've learned the Shas, and the Shas that's relevant, you don't have to learn all the Shas. You can learn Beisugyos. After you learned it once, what?
What's the Zoya then?
What's the?
It's just a broomstick in your bike wheel, isn't it?
What do you mean? To know this?
No, Zoya.
But no, you also have to know parts of it.
Say, but you don't have to know it by heart. You should learn it, but you don't have to know it by heart. Meaning, when you come to Shemayim, they ask you, did you learn Torah? Meaning, did you fulfill this mitzvah? That's what you need to know.
Did you try diligently to learn Torah? If you didn't get all of it, you didn't get all of it. Hashem gives you a certain capacity, every man. Even though the obligation is to everyone, Hashem doesn't expect everyone to do the whole thing.
But the Alter Rebbe, like we just said, he adds something more. And this is the reason why in the regular Shulchan Aruch he didn't ask this question, what do you need to know? And the Alter Rebbe does ask this question. He says here that you have to teach it in a way, like we just said, Tam miyashev talmudam u'mesimo belibam.
Very interesting.
After. U'mesimo belibam. What does it mean, mesimo belibam? Puts it in their heart. What does it mean to put something in the heart? What is that, to put something in the heart? Or
say something that they innately feel already.
Yeah, that it's plimi. Something plimi. It has to be plimi. It's called. It has to sit well with me. Meaning, if you give me some reason that doesn't work for me, you haven't explained anything to me. I need to understand.
Without saying.
To the point where after you hear it, you say, yes, that makes sense. That sits well. That is dat. That's what da'at means. Da'at is hergish. Da'at is a feeling. So that's why this whole thing is connected to Moshe Rabbeinu. That's why he says this is all asher tasim lifnehem. You, Moshe Rabbeinu, should put it, meaning any time that a Rav teaches something and he's able to make it sit well with the people who are hearing him, with the students, it means that Rav has now become an extension of Moshe Rabbeinu. Because Moshe Rabbeinu is the da'at klali of the entire Jewish people. The whole point of Moshe Rabbeinu is that he's able to explain things in such a way that it sits well with you in the end. So if it worked, if the Rav was able to explain it in such a way that afterwards I had a sima lifnehem, bifnehem, like the Rebbe says here, that it's internally.
What's your understanding of Mifsayim, communal leadership?
How do we get to Mifsayim?
How do we understand? I mean, that's just extreme.
One of the Mifsayim is Talmud Torah. One of the Mifsayim, Shulei Torah, he calls it.
You're spreading the mitzvahs with the people who are unaffiliated.
Right, but
that's not your position. How
right.
do you jump to communal leadership like that?
It's not communal leadership.
Without getting to the...
You have to teach in such a way that people feel...
You specifically went through that before you walked in.
I didn't understand the question yet. I'm not sure I understood the question. It might be something between you and I don't follow. So how did you get to communal leadership? I wasn't sure.
No, I took a leap.
Yeah, so what's the leap?
Can I have the right to judge? No, okay.
So it's not about judgment. It's can I explain things in such a way that it makes sense to the person. Okay? That's why it's mishpatim. That's why we don't start with chukim. You don't start the Torah with chukim.
Okay, but I have das of the Rebbe.
Okay.
I'm aware of, I made a hergish.
Okay.
So I'm asking why Messiah? What's the concept of Messiah?
It's a question, several questions.
So the miftayim here would be, again, like one of his miftayim was Talmud Torah. Meaning that I go and teach a sikha somewhere, in some shul. If I teach a sikha and I can't say it in such a way that it makes sense to people, so that's not an extension of what he said.
Whoa.
Okay? It has to make sense. To just repeat it, that's not that. No, if I'm teaching a sikha, I need to know that sikha. It has to make sense. A lot of Torah is kvetch on common sense, because I'm telling you that what's common sense is not always so right. It's common, but it's not necessarily right. For instance, everybody in the world assumes that the most important thing in the world is to get a profession and make a living and this and that and that. And the Torah comes and says...
It's like me saying, I realize I'm a traditional Jew.
Okay, right. I realize that I'm much closer than I thought. Maybe I thought it was very distant and didn't make any sense to me. Like for instance, just learning Eved Ivri as a social mitzvah, not as a method of how to acquire wealth. It's what is the right, like today we use incarceration. You put somebody in jail. What does that actually do? In the Torah there's no such thing as jail. Not only in the Torah. In all the Rishonim there's no such thing as jail. There's something called a kippah. Like it says by the Mekoshesh Etzim, Simu b'mishmar, put him in safekeeping until we know what to do with him. Okay? But there's no such thing as rectifying somebody by putting them in jail. There's no such thing. You can put somebody in jail until like overnight because you don't know what to do yet.
It's a very crusade Middle Ages thing.
Okay. But the whole idea of rectifying in criminology, by the way, in criminology they're also not sure that it works. This whole thing in jail, who says there's a lot of signs that say that it doesn't work. It's better to do other things. So to understand Eved Ivri is a way of reforming somebody, normalizing them, bringing them back into society, and you do it by putting them in touch with somebody who's an outstanding individual, and he lives with him, and he learns from him basically how to put his life back together again. That's a tremendous thing that the world hasn't heard yet. And if you explain things that way, it's something a person says, well, I didn't know it. It sounded like me like Eved. People translate it as slave. It's not a slave. Even an Eved Knani, the way I explained it, is not the way that most people would explain it.
What was it again? You said that the point was that you have them live with model citizens, you have them live with upright people.
And usually what would happen even, like it says, is that these usually were people who didn't have a family. And so the master, the person
who have a rapist or someone who's very
you have to be very serious, like
warden.
Not a warden. You have to be a serious figure. Somebody who's just another schlepper is not going to be able to live with such a person.
So these people were so serious that no matter how grave the crime was of the person.
No, they were willing to take the responsibility. By the way, it's not about rapists. It's not about rapists. It's about it's always about something stealing. It's about stealing.
Only stealing.
It's stealing, and anything that's connected to stealing that caused into. No, the chiyuv is death. If a person steals another person, that's lo tignov of the Aseret HaTivros.
That's rape. Rape would be where the penalty for a rape is death?
No.
No, honest.
It depends on who the girl is and what it is, but it could lead to the person being
it's also
needing.
It's also misa.
No, somebody said. Oh. That's only if it's a nation. There's other things. But anyway,
the girl who screams Nara in this field.
So again, it's a question of whether she's
right.
So how do you look at her then?
Sorry?
How would you look at the girl who shouts it out?
So that we need to get to when we get there. It's actually this partial, but
so I wasn't tripping. I thought it was this partial.
Okay, let's continue.
No, it's not. It's in the summertime.
Okay. Let's see if they want to add something more. Okay.
I was tripping.
By the way, when you have a feeling for it, that's what the world calls Das Torah. By the way, when a person has learned so much,
that's not a fact.
Huh?
Is that your opinion?
No, that's what it's called. Das Torah means that the das, the sense that you have, is makes sense according to Torah. Like you said, it could be that you have common sense and it doesn't fit with Torah.
Your common sense is not common sense.
But you learned enough and you understand it well enough and you've come to the point where it makes enough sense to you that you can understand how the Torah is thinking. That's called Das Torah. It says, Dat ba'alei batim afuch midat Torah. The Shach says. What does it mean? That he asks a balabat, what should be the law in this case? Whatever he says, do the opposite. Why? Because his das is... Stop a balabat. Somebody. Why? Because he hasn't learned enough. If you learned enough, your mind will I've had hundreds of examples of this happen to me. Not as a balabat. Okay? I'm thinking something, and I come to somebody from the Ada, and I ask him, what do you say about this? And he says, completely opposite from what I thought. So I said, please explain to me, because I thought mamish the opposite. So he explains to me, and it makes a lot more sense than what I thought. It's true. That's how it is.
You know what a labyrinth is? A labyrinth is like a pendulum, but it's got 4 corners.
A labyrinth?
Labyrinth is a maze.
A labyrinth is a game, a maze.
Oh, yeah, it's
like the earth, like the world.
The world is on 4 points.
So everything has a...
Shouldn't come with that.
Say it. So let's go on.
Can that be my word of the week? Did everybody like that word?
Labyrinth? I used to play when I was young. How far did you get? Did you get all the way to the end?
I got all the way.
This isn't Othello. I didn't hijack the chorus.
Okay.
Othello's a game for us.
So why is this so important to the Alter Rebbe, by the way? So let's go back to this question. Why in this regular Shulchan Aruch did he not ask the question of what do you need to know, while in the Alter Rebbe's Shulchan Aruch he does ask this question? What changed? What did the Alter Rebbe suddenly add to the mix called learning Torah that the Shulchan Aruch didn't have? Or at least not in Nigla, he doesn't say it in any way. What he added is chapter 5 of Tanya. What does it say in chapter 5 of Tanya? That how is Talmud Torah different than all the other mitzvos? The 613 mitzvos, and it says Talmud Torah keneged kulam. Why is it keneged kulam? How is it different than everything else?
It brings to every other mitzvah.
So that's Talmud Shemivili Maaseh, very nice. But let's say that it's not even a mitzvah you can do, right? Today there's only 270 mitzvahs we can do, and 343 that we can't do.
So you're talking about the Ivan the Malka.
So there's something about Talmud Torah that's different than all the other mitzvahs. So what does Alter Rebbe say? He says, the Talmud Torah, all the other mitzvahs doesn't know all the other mitzvahs. All the other mitzvahs are levushim. They're only external. I mean, I put tefillin on, my hand is not different. I can put tefillin on the whole day, I can, as much as I want. My brain doesn't change. Like put you under an fMRI and see if you think differently. You don't think differently. It's a mitzvah. You put it on.
Rishon is Sadik, so you're born with the Torah, so it's innately always part of you. So when you study Torah,
you're only rediscovering.
Wait, but Torah, the difference is it's supposed to change you. Meaning, if I learned, my understanding should change.
Not changing the Rishon stage, the foundation.
Yes.
It doesn't change the foundation.
It does very much.
What's the point of this from the Mullah?
No, that's something else. That's your mission.
Okay.
I read there's studies about Tefillin changing a person's aura.
So, books.
I think it's also
thinking, not putting tefillin on.
No, he's saying tefillin can change. It can, tefillin does bring certain things on you.
It can, but it doesn't change you. It doesn't internalize.
It doesn't change your internal.
Your hand doesn't become. You don't become Superman by putting tefillin on. But when I learn Torah, it's supposed to affect me.
The mitzvah of tefillin specifically.
Just any mitzvah.
For a reference.
No, take
culture,
Shabbos.
That's what you're doing.
Take Shabbos. You can
culture and race. You're opening up the door to the idea of doing a mitzvah mid doing something else. But tefillin has this actual power. There's a whole lacha. There's a whole concept of, like I'm doing my outreach. I'm gonna eat my falafel and then put my tefillin on. But I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna put my falafel down publicly in the shop, and then I'm gonna wrap my tefillin. Now there will be some Jews that would be inspired by that, and there'll be some Jews. This is a whole different world.
But that didn't change.
That's why you use specifically the mitzvah of tefillin.
I'm saying when you put.
I just want to know why you use tefillin.
Because it's wrapped.
Some people are born without the limb though, so I've eliminated your reference to tefillin as a mitzvah.
You say, it doesn't matter. Take Shabbos. Does it change you in some way? Do you physically change? Do you understand something differently because you keep Shabbos? No, it's just an action that you do. That's what it means. It's a levush.
We're aware of the progress.
What?
Okay.
But when you learn, it changes how you think.
Shabbos doesn't.
I thought one way before, and now I think differently. It changed me. That's why he calls it pnimi. Because it changes me as a person.
I don't experience Shabbos the same way I did when I was a little boy.
Of course not, because you grow.
Right.
But it's not the Shabbos that's changing you.
Not all because I'm grown. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And if you learn about Shabbos in Torah, it can change you from one Shabbos to the next, even within the Shabbos itself.
That's true, because the reason why people think differently and feel differently on Shabbos is especially the neshama. Nothing actually changes.
You say that every generation you're one step further away from
that could also be with its film, you're having something added but not changed. Nothing was changed.
I don't know anything if you have anything added.
Your parents are one loop in the chain closer to Mount Sinai.
Okay. Right.
So are you less religious now than your parents?
No, I have less knowledge of less knowledge of the experience. I have to work by recreating the experience through what I learn, because I'm further away from the actual experience. Every generation, that's what it means.
And I picked my parents, so I could have picked them intently. I know I'm a son. Yeah, I
could.
So
but you don't have an experience of it. They had, whoever was alive.
Shama had the experience.
So whatever that means.
How do we get to this?
Because I'm trying to explain why the Alter Rebbe brings, what do you need to learn? Why? Because for the Alter Rebbe it's very clear that Talmud Torah means that it has to change you. The question is, how much does it need to change you?
You like Shabbos though, yeah? You like Shabbos?
Love Shabbos.
Love Shabbos. Okay, we will love Shabbos here. Okay.
It's nothing against Shabbos. So sometime when you have time, learn chapter 5 in the Tanya. He repeats it actually 3 times in the Tanya. But chapter 5 is the first time.
Now also.
Okay, no, again.
In the daily Tanya.
Okay.
But what's it called? In Pirkei Avos, it goes through all the things that are acquired through Torah, that are actually changing physical traits within you.
Okay. One of the things, the main thing, by the way, from the experience, it's Moshe Rabbeinu says in Dvarim, "Leman tiyeh yirato al pnechem kol yemei chayechem." The yira, or what later is said that every Jew has 3 qualities: Rachman, Baishan, Gomel Chasadim. Rachmanim, Baishanim, Gomel Chasadim. So in the Tanya it doesn't mention Baishanim. He brings it says Rachmanim and Gomel Chasadim. Right? Why not? No, it doesn't say it.
What's the literal translation?
Rachman is compassionate. Baishan is, you would say, like humble, and Gomel Chasadim. Baishan is like, you could say bashful, but it really means that he's not ostentatious, he's not bold, he says our first nature was to be bold.
Humbled in a
right. As well. Our first nature was to be very bold, and then Matan Torah changed that because it was all an experience of yira. It was all experience of fear. A tremendous fear and awe of Hashem. And so how do you learn that? That only from an experience you can.
Could you unify Chesed and Gevurah?
What do you mean? You have both. What do you need to unify it?
I'm saying contextually, philosophically, could you take a step back and say, I am what Chesed and Gevurah is in fighting?
No, so every person has
tough love. I'm the pendulum to tough love.
Even more than that. The whole premise of the Tanya is that, and this is the premise in all psychology today, is that you can't explain what's going on inside a person if you don't assume at least 2 forces battling one another. In the Tanya, the 2 forces are your animal soul and your divine soul. And they're in constant battle. Every person is torn.
Assuming it makes an arse out of you and me if you assume.
Assume what?
So we don't add.
It's like a simple thing that if I want to understand myself or understand somebody else, I have to at least assume here means that I have to accept the fact that there's at least 2 forces battling inside. Nobody is unified. There's no such thing. There's no person who is a monist, it's called.
Right. So
there's monolithic. That he has.
How do we unify collectively?
Who said you need to unify?
This is a social skill. Eved and Ivri is a social concept. How do we use that in a? All right, we're all inspirational now. What? We're all Chesed and Gevurah. We're all struggling, battling with each other.
So that's what we want to say. That's what he's going to explain now. What do you do with this? What is the Eved Ivri inside of you? What is the Eved Knani inside of you? And so how do you use these to elevate yourself?
Where's the dialect between us? We have to form a dialogue between.
So after you learn but you first have to understand the map, and then you can decide who belongs to what, and then you can start the dialogue. But if you don't have the language yet, the map.
Yeah, but do you mean like the dynamics of people, or do you mean like people's feelings where they are?
But after you learn the map of the nefesh, then you can begin to understand where somebody lies. You also have to understand by yourself. Who do you identify more with? Are you more an Ama Ivriya, a female maidservant? Are you more an Eved Ivri, a Jewish servant, or are you more an Eved Knani?
Connecting Podem Shalom, that whole mimer. Connecting the Podem Shalom Nafshi, we're actually a gufay, a vessel, and we're all one body.
First of all, here you said it, first it's the individual. We're not doing the Mashiach in general, we're doing each person individually. That's this mimer.
Take a leap of faith.
After you understand the individual, this mimer is about the individual.
We live in interesting times, we need to get hyper with this mimer.
It's going to get hyper. Hold on.
Rabbi,
we're out of time?
We're just time. If you want to summarize or just recap, but they're going to daven Chassim.
Okay. How much time do we have, just so I know?
Take 5 minutes.
Okay. So the setup, what we're going to do next time, so I thought we would finish this today. Actually, we've got a lot of good concerns. So, to set it up, the three types of servants that are mentioned in this parsha, they correspond to the three worlds, Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiyah. Creation is Bria, and that is the Ama Ivriya, the female maidservant. And she's Jewish. The Yetzirah, the world of formation, that is the Eved Ivri, the Jewish servant. And the lowest is either an Eved or Shifcha Knanit.
So the Amma is Bria?
Bria.
Right. How does that relate to the Be'eni? Why is the Be'eni?
And the lowest is the Eved Knani or the Shifcha Knanit. It's either a female or a male non-Jewish servant. So, now what are we missing then? Atzilus. Who's in Atzilus then? Who's missing from the whole story?
The free will.
The Adon, the master. The master would be Hashem. Okay? He's in Atzilus. So, or if I take it into my personal soul, so my Nefesh Elokit is the Atzilus, and in my Nefesh Be'emit, in my animal soul, I have three different aspects. That would be the simplest way to explain it. But here, he takes the bottom three, and he trims them, that even the Amai V'yah is already the Nefesh Elokit. And then the middle is a Nefesh, what we call the Nefesh Be'emit, or the feelings of the Nefesh Be'emit, and the bottom would be just the life in me, the life force, which is like sometimes called in Tanya Nefesh Tiv'it, or Nefesh Chiyunit. It's just giving me life. So these are the three levels, and what we're going to do next time is we're going to talk about them a lot more to explain what he wants us to do with them. Okay?
Thank you.
So I hope we finish it next time.